Hello friends, and welcome to the Hanged Man in the Moon. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm pleased to meet you. If you've been here before, thank you for returning. I'm truly honored. Friends, if you are a returning visitor, you certainly know that this is my series in which I use tarot and oracle cards to help me explore topics related to living the intentional life. And I've been using a very unique, to me, spread that is based on the Tree of Life. And this is part 2 of a 2-part reading of that one spread, because that spread is really intense. So friends, if you have not seen part 1, I highly recommend that you go and take a look at that. So what I will do is I'll put a card up here so that you can hop over and watch part 1 and then come back over to watch part 2. Because having that first part of the video under your belt, what do we call that? Having seen that first part of the video, this second part of the video will make a heck of a lot more sense. Okay, so those cards are up there. And just in case you have seen part 1, let me give you a brief reminder of what we saw. We saw in the supernal triangle a lot of fire, a lot of Sagittarius, and a lot of Mars coming in, telling us that we might be feeling some obstacles coming in, and still there's a potential for our own evolution, and this might not be a good time for us to go searching out in the fields, but to stay close to home and do the work. Yeah, keep safe and stay with the people who are here around to help us. And then we moved into the lower triangle. We saw that it was a lot about relationships. Yeah, good emotions, and also a little bit of that the Aquarian. Take a step back and be a little bit removed, a little bit impersonal, so that we get a clearer view of what it is we're doing and where we're going. And then that got all nicely balanced in the center with the Justice card. And so that's where we're starting now. We're moving into the astral triangle, or the psychological triangle. And then, so what we're going to do, in just a moment, I'll show you that downward pointing triangle. And then we're going to read the whole spread once more in 3 different ways. We'll read the mother pillar, the father pillar, and then the lightning path down. Okay, so friends, first, let me show you the last downward pointing triangle, the psychological triangle, or in other words, the astral triangle. Here it is. So that was the last downward pointing triangle. And you saw that in the upper right hand corner in Netzach we had the 7 of Swords, another sword card, right? And then in Hod, the upper left hand corner, we had the 5 of Swords, another swords card. But then in the balance point in the center in Yesod, we had the Queen of Cups, another water card. And then at the very bottom in Malkut, we had another asteroid, which is Psyche. So that's the order we're going to read these in. And we're going to start off with Netzach. And Netzach is the sephira of triumph over obstacles, of victory, of endurance, of perpetuity. It's where we can begin to feel and to comprehend what is happening in the Tree of Life. Yeah? Things are starting to become a little bit tangible. We have the strength to complete and the patience to follow through on our passions. Yeah? The passions were raging up above, but now we're able to start doing stuff with them. And this is a place where we can ask of ourselves, how can we receive God's message from above? And how can it be implemented? Because we're starting to get ready to put things into action. Yeah? So, that card in Netzach, again, was the 6 of Swords. And here it is. Right here. And the 6 of Swords in this deck, in this deck, is associated with Saturn in Taurus. Yeah? Interesting. Don't really get any of that from the card, but I get that from the book, written by the second Count de Saint-Germain. And what does that mean? Well, according to the second Count de Saint-Germain, we have struggle against adversity. Okay, that makes sense for the triumph over obstacles position, right? We have indecision, drawing, temptation, or sorrow. Now we're not able to make a decision, so we get distracted by temptations which would perhaps take us off of our course, or by sadness because it's clearer than indecision, right? Those are some possibilities, but there are other possibilities for Saturn in Taurus. Hardworking and committed people have Saturn in Taurus, right? These are people who follow through to the best of their ability. Yeah, they are the ones who define their own boundaries, and they are the ones who move their stuff forward. They're frugal with their resources. Now, Taurans can sometimes be a little bit extravagant, but Saturn gives them a little bit of frugality. They give attention to the accumulation of wealth. They want to gather the stuff that they like having around them. They're honest in their dealings, and they're ethical and pragmatic. Taurans are not always pragmatic, but Saturn brings a little bit of pragmatism to that desire for sensual pleasures in Taurus. They're intuitive. They pursue their desires without delay. Taurans can sometimes sit back on their heels, but Saturn gives them a little bit more of that drive forward. And I think those are the qualities that we are seeing brought forth in this Sephira, in this spread. Now, frugality with our resources, attention to the accumulation of the stuff that we like, and enjoying those things, enjoying music, enjoying art, enjoying culture, but also being inventive and pursuing our desires without delay. Now, we have the cleverness brought to us by the sharp thinking Saturn into Taurus. We have all of that potential here in our ability to overcome our obstacles. Yeah, we have the intelligence. We can do it. We don't have to wait. We can move forward frugally. We can work hard and we can be committed. We can follow through. In here. And here, this is paired off with Hod. Hod is its partner. Netzach is the right leg, Hod is the left leg. These are the Sephirot that will get this tree of life walking, that will put this tree of life on its feet. Hod, what is that? It's majesty, it's splendor, wonderful attributes, but as a pair to Netzach, the way I see it as a pair to Netzach where we triumph over our obstacles, Hod is where we surrender to the obstacle. Hod is where we open ourselves up to the truth of the obstacle to find a way to flow through, around, over, or under it. And to find cracks in it and seep our way through. Because there's always a way through this barrier that we have put in our own darn way. So this is how we're going to be able to flow through that. And the way we flow through that is in this spread, the Five of Swords. Very interesting. I like the way that these swords are shaped like a pentacle, which gives us that idea of our willpower, as thou wilt, yeah? The will of the magician, the will of the magus, the will of the creator in the physical universe. And this card is interestingly associated with Venus in Aries. So we got Aries back again. Venus in Aries. In this deck. In this kind of deck, I should say, because this is a redraw. No, this is also a redrawing of the deck that was published by the second Count de Saint-Germain. So what does this mean? According to the Count de Saint-Germain, this is the tendency to insanity. Fierce, vengeful anger, self-harm are possible here. And somehow I don't think those are the attributes that we want to jump to in this particular spread at this particular time. Yeah? Self-harm is not going to be the good balance point of enjoying music and art and being frugal with our resources. Rather, I think going to Venus in Aries is the way we want to go. Venus. The planet for Aries is what? The planet for Aries is Mars. Mars is partner. So here, Venus is in the house of her partner, right? And Venus being in the house of Aries gives us some ideas of her love of beauty, her love of relationship, coming into that kind of fierce, competitive space. So we get the idea of being playful, but reckless. Now we can be playful, but we might get carried away. We could be a little bit of ADD, attention deficit disorder, with Venus in Aries. That's one direction that pairing can go. But the Venus in Aries can have the potential to being able to do what we want, when we want, without answering to anybody. We have that independence. Venus in Aries has the independence to do what we want, when we want, without having to get permission from anybody and without being affected by the ideas and beliefs of other people. And we can challenge authority here. We have a danger from following our impulses blindly, but we can follow those impulses if we keep a good eye on what we're doing and what the results are going to be. We're driven by emotion rather than passion. Now, we're driven by emotion and we're willing to dive into the unknown here. And we're daring and we know what we want. Now, we have the power of Aries here that we're allowing ourselves to get used to as Venus being in the house of her partner. So these two together, I think, give a really interesting pair, right? We can work hard, we can be frugal, we can give attention to gaining stuff and enjoying what we have, and we can pursue our desires, and we can also be balanced out by doing what we want to do when we want to do it. We can allow ourselves to be a little bit daring and not worry so much about what other people are thinking or saying about us. Right? Interesting balance here. And those two are balanced out by the central Yod. And what is Yod? Yod is our foundation. This is the engine that brings the tree of life into manifestation. This is what drives the tree of life forward. Yeah, the two Sephiroth of Netzach and Hod, they're the legs. This is the engine of the tree for manifestation. And in the engine of our tree for manifestation, we have this beautiful, beautiful image of the Queen of Cups, which is Cancer. But it's Mercury in Cancer. Now, Mercury is back here, which is very interesting, right? This deck, the associations drawn by the second Count de Saint-Germain are very, very interesting. And I'm reading them as they are, just because that's what the practice is. I've decided the practice is going to be. I'm not going to use, at least for this lunar cycle, I didn't want to use the associations that later creators had brought in to rectify the associations given by the Count de Saint-Germain. I wanted to keep with the original meanings and the original associations as much as I could for this lunar cycle. Maybe I'll switch out for the next lunar cycle in a different way. But still, here we have, again, the Queen of Cups, which is Mercury in Cancer. Now, according to Count de Saint-Germain, this is brilliant marriage. It's goodwill of a woman of high rank. Wonderful things. But it's also ideas and resources. Now, imagination and creativity and quick thinking are possible here, which is a good balance point between that Six of Swords and Five of Swords, right? Which you might think of as strange being a Cups card, right? But still we have ideas and resources, imagination and creativity, and quick thinking. This is the card of a natural healer. They do with all their might, which brings in that Five of Swords and Six of Swords attributes. They have a complex personality and varied talents here as well. From Mercury, I assume. And they take active interest in people as individuals. Now, because the Cancer card allows Mercury to be more deeply and truly connected to other. So this is where we have that combination of 6 and 5 of Swords here in our interrelationship, but also in our, not only our ability to heal, because Queens of Cups are good healers too, but also our imagination and creativity give us our ability to think quickly, to keep to keep on our toes, to be nimble, and just like Mercury, and to have access to our varied and diverse talents here. And that brings us right into our manifestation in Malkuth. And in Malkuth we have Psyche, right? Psyche, do you remember Psyche? Psyche was the human that Eros, the son of Venus, fell in love with. And Venus got really, really jealous and really, really angry of Psyche, and so Venus put a lot of plagues and made life hard for Psyche until Psyche got a little bit of help from one of the other gods, from Zeus. Now, wait a second. Okay, so Zeus, yes, Zeus and Venus are in the same pantheon. Jupiter and Aphrodite are in the other one. So, Psyche and Eros, right? God, I hope I'm keeping my pantheons correctly divided. But here we have Psyche, a human-made goddess. So this is the asteroid of passion, of empathy, of sensitivity, our psychic awareness and our appreciation of beauty and our ability for kindness are all here. We want to be careful that we aren't being formed by other people's expectations of us here, though, because we are so open to psychic impressions and psychic understandings and also the real words that are spoken to us, that we can be overly affected by those things, and we want to be independent of the good thoughts and good will of others. We want to look to see if we are internalizing what others are thinking and what others are saying about who we are and what we should do, and allow those things to flow out of us so that we can embody who we truly are. We have heightened intuition here. Our sensitivity helps us turn the worst feelings into beauty and positivity, but it's also a potential portal for the other people to try to shape and control and modify who we are. So we want to be careful of one and allow the other to flow and radiate forth. Allow our ability to change the difficult into beauty and art and positivity, while allowing the good ideas and good intentions of others to just flow through us so that we can be our most authentic selves and keep ourselves open without shutting ourselves down. Does that make sense? So that is where we land in this spread. We want to move through this, the attributes are moving through this spread of passions to relationships to our own development of who we are as openly psychic and empathic beings in having these human experiences. And so this all makes sense, but the core message is still a little bit elusive to me. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you the full spread again. And we're going to read those 3 ways I mentioned. We're going to look at the mother pillar, the father pillar, and the lightning path down. Here we go. So friends, that was the whole spread, right? So again, we're going to start with the mother pillar. And the mother pillar starts with Binah and moves down through Gevra to Hod. So we start with the Nine of Wands reversed. And this is the direction that the energy is moving, that the attributes are moving, that the ideas are moving in this spread. So here we are with the Nine of Wands. We start off here with the suggestion that we want to stay where we are. We want to shelter in place. We don't want to come out. We want to forage close to home. If we do come out, we don't want to go too far away. We want to take advantage of those that help us, that are ready to help us, and we want to stay in our place and accept help, but don't accept invitations that could lead us too far away from home, right? That's where we started off with. And then we move down into Gevurah, which is where we have our justice and we limit our loving kindness by giving it a container, right? And in that spot we had the King of Swords. So we're staying close at home, and as we stay close to home, we embody our inner King of Swords. Now, we look clearly. We become a little bit dispassionate. We can be a little bit, our emotions can be can shake us up, can make us feel very uncomfortable in that reversed Nine of Wands energy, because there's the potential for that fear of needing to take shelter and not go too far from home, to look for and accept whatever help is available to us. There's the potential for that positioning of closing off to the powerful force of our intention, right? Which we don't want to do. So while we're there, we allow ourselves to become a little bit dispassionate, to look clearly. Where have we been? Where are we going? Where are we now? Yeah, we look to the advancement of ourselves and others, and we talk. We allow ourselves to enjoy communication with those who are around us, because the more that we talk, the more that we interact, the more we will be able to learn about where we are and who we are becoming, if that makes sense. And so we move from that into the Five of Swords in Yesod, in Hod. And in the Five of Swords, what information did we get? We got that, yes. So we want to be tenacious, but playful. We want to allow ourselves to be playful, recognizing that playfulness could get us into trouble. Now, we want to open ourselves up to the obstacle that we're experiencing by allowing ourselves to be playful, by doing what we want, when we want it, without answering to other people, but still being very aware that we want to be playful within our safe space. Does that make sense? We want to allow ourselves to challenge whatever authority seems to be there. We want to get help from others, but we don't want to get help from others without recognizing our own inner self-actualized voice, and that will challenge the other to not accept things blindly, right? We accept help, but we don't accept the help without our own empowerment. We want to be self-empowered as we accept help. We can be driven by our emotions here, so we want to be careful of that. This isn't the time to go diving into the unknown, which is possible here. But we want to know what we want and allow ourselves to be playful around that while we stay in our safe space, which is where we started at the top of the mother pillar of severity. Right? So we're here, we're in our cave, but we're allowing ourselves to be playful within that space. Not allowing ourselves to go crazy and move out into the unknown, because we're not ready for that yet. And so now we move right over to the Father pillar. And the Father pillar, let me get these cards back in some semblance of order. Yeah, the Psyche goes there. Okay, so the Father pillar begins with Chokmah. Yeah, begins with Chokmah, and in Chokmah we had the Five of Wands. I'm sorry, no, it doesn't begin in Chokmah. I am a bad teacher. No, I'm not a bad teacher. It begins in the Six of Swords, in Netzach. Now the father pillar starts in Netzach, goes up to Chesed, and then goes up to Chokmah, right? So, the Six of Swords is where we begin. This is how we open up to receive and to rise to meet the divine. And we begin that journey with the Six of Swords, right here, which is what? Be hardworking. We want to remember on one side we were moving into being playful within our safe space. Here we want to recall that we can also be hardworking, right? We want to be frugal with our resources. We want to enjoy what is. We want to be inventive. We want to pursue our desires, but we want to do so with diligence, with the diligence of a Taurus. It's Saturn in Taurus. Okay? And so we start off here. This is where we begin. Kind of like a playful Knight of Pentacles in some other decks, a Knight of Coins. Yeah? And here we open up to our loving kindness in Netzach. And in Netzach, we had the Five of Cups, which, if you recall, according to some people, is quarrels in marriage and friends being treacherous. But here, we want to open up, so we're diligent, we enjoy music and art, we are we're inventive, and so we enjoy good fortune and love. We enjoy the emotional connections that we have, and still we keep our emotions in check, like a good Aquarian might want to do. Well, Aquarians are perhaps a little bit more removed than that, but a balanced Aquarian with good emotional development can have emotions, but they're held in check, right? They're responsible, emotionally responsible, and they take responsibility for the emotional connections that they have with others. Yeah, we can have expanded ideas that are fixed. They are grounded and expansive here. So we do the hard work and we enjoy the relationships that we have. We take responsibility for the relationships we have, and we allow ourselves to dream and realize that we can realize those dreams, and we can expand our ideas even though they are also at once grounded. And that moves us up into the Five of Wands. And what do we get at the Five of Wands? At the Five of Wands, doing all of that, we get the opportunity to work on ourselves. Right? We get the opportunity to recognize that we are the prima materia. We are that which can be alchemized into the pure gold of the divinely connected being, the divinely embodied being. We can process ourselves. We can boil off the dross and bring together, coagulate the gold that is the eternal nature that we are having these human experiences, co-creating these beautiful human bodies. We can be active interpreters of our experience, and it's in actively interpreting our experience with all of that we've brought to the table thus far, that we will be able to best evolve into the beings that we want to evolve into. Right? So, just a moment. I'll be right back. We'll get into the lightning path. I'm back. Sorry. There were some noisy people at my door, and so now they are gone. So we're back, and we're going to read the lightning path. What does this spread, read as one movement of energy from the divine, from the Ein Sof down into manifestation, teach us? What does it tell us? Well, we begin again at the Seven of Wands, upright, right? And here we have the recognition that there is a potential of our self-created obstacles, our limiting beliefs, our habitualized fears coming into our awareness soon. And those things are things that we will want to give attention to, because we move from there into the alchemy of our own evolution. And the way to do that evolution is to first give attention to those things that are impeding our evolution, right? And so here, the energy from that recognition that we have things that we have internalized and we have accepted, and we've created ideas and beliefs that are standing in our own way. We recognize that, and here it enters the prism, the crystal of transmutation, and we recognize that we can do the alchemy of ourselves. We can boil that dross off, and we can allow it to flow off and out to reveal the pure gold that lies within. That is the truth of ourselves. That is the sun of our true natures. And we're able to follow our own lights and enjoy participating in the dance of life if we allow ourselves to. But because we haven't done that work yet, because we're still in process, we move into the Nine of Wands, which was reversed, which is saying, yes, and stay where the heck you are. Stay where the F you are. This isn't the time to go foraging out in the woods. This is the time to stay where we are, to accept the help that is around us, and to be safe. Not because there's anybody out there coming to attack us, but because we're still a little bit punch drunk and we're not ready to go out. It's like we're not ready to get into the car and drive, because if we do that, then we're going to have an accident. Not because there are people out trying to run into us, but because we're not in good control right now. Now there's stuff coming up which is not allowing us to be the clear, focused beings that we want to be when we're driving our car out in the world. So we want to stay where we are. We want to stay where we are and forage close to home. Go out into the front yard and look what's out there, but don't get in our car and start driving. This is all metaphor, right? Because then we move into what? So this is the understanding that we get, and we move into the void of Dot, which we haven't looked at yet. And in the void of Dot, we have the constellation, and really there's not much to look at, although the colors are beautiful. The constellation of Juno. Now, do you know Juno? I know Juno. Juno is the wife of Jupiter. Juno is the sister of Jupiter also. And Juno is the goddess of marriage that is very rarely shown as a happy goddess in mythology. Juno's husband, Jupiter, is the ultimate playboy. Juno's husband sees the pretty things out in the world, and his first instinct is to go mate with it, whether it be male, female, or animal. This Jupiter is the wild stallion, and Juno is married to him. So who is Juno? Well, attributes for Juno in this deck are things like commitment, trust, equality, support, and cooperation, but also on the negative side, jealousy and revenge. Because most of the mythology that we read involving Juno is Juno getting pissed off at what Jupiter has done and taking revenge on the person or people that Jupiter had been doing the stuff with. Not revenge on her husband, but revenge on the people that Jupiter was screwing around with, right? So there's that dark side. But on the lighter side, again, commitment, trust, equality. So this card is telling us to take time to look at relationship. What is working and what is not working? What is our history and what is the trajectory that our relationships are moving in? Now, where have we come from? But not only that, where are we going? Are perhaps equally important. A rough past is not the end of the story necessarily if we're on the path to something better. And a lot of us just look at the past and say, well, you did this and you did that and you did the other, and so let's stop. But this card is here to remind us that, okay, you did this, you did that, you did the other. Also, I did this, I did that, and I did the other. But still, you did this, you did that, you did the other. And still, right now, we look to be moving in the direction of something else. And so let's see if we can move this in the direction of a better union. Not from fantasy, not from repressing what we know of the past, but in anticipation of healing and growth and development. A lot of us right now have reacted to the past of being stuck in marriages and relationships, to ending them prematurely, not doing the work to recognize that we are all humans works in progress. And so someone did something you didn't like a couple of times. Yes, no, we're not talking about violence. We're not talking about actual abuse. That's something else entirely. That's an entirely different conversation, and it's not in this spread. But you don't come home enough. I'm jealous of the way you spend time with other people. There are things that you do that I don't like. You don't give me enough attention. You never send me roses anymore. Those kinds of things. A lot of us say, we build up those lists of irritations, and we say, okay, enough, stop. Instead of deciding to work on them, to move forward with growth. And this is what this card is here to remind us of. In our void of the fallen tree, the knowledge that we get is to do the work on our relationships. Are our needs being met? Are we meeting the needs of the other? Is there balance in our desires? These are questions we want to ask. And what if there's no partner? Well, we ask other questions. We ask, what do we bring to the table to offer a partner? What boundaries are important to us? Who do we want a relationship with? Do we want a relationship? All of these questions are here in that. And so because of these questions, I realize that this spread has taken a different turn than I expected. And I usually don't read relationships in this channel, at least not directly only about relationships. I talk more generally about things that are challenges and are benefits, but I think this spread is about our relationships. Because as we move forward from this, as we look to doing the analysis and the careful exploration of who we are related with romantically. And I mean, it could be other relationships, but I think this one is about that kind of partner relationship, whatever that is, whether it's with a same-sex partner, a differently sexed partner, a non-gendered partner, whatever, a trans partner, whoever it is we are in that relationship of me and you. Could it be a friend? I suppose it could be a friend, but I think this is talking about something else. And it's also asking us if we really want that relationship, that kind of a relationship. Because that's also a potential. And so we move from this place of questioning who we are in relationship, who that relationship is with us. What are we bringing? What are we receiving? How balanced are we? Do we even really want to be in that kind of relationship? Then we move into this one, right? No, I'm sorry. No, we don't move into this one. We move into this one. Yes, we move into this one. I'm sorry, the Five of Cups. And here, what do we get? We get to realize that in our loving relationships, there is good fortune. There's the potential for good fortune. We want to hold our emotions in check as we do that questioning. We want to check our sensitivity? Are we being oversensitive with sound judgment? How are we reacting to the other? Are we reacting appropriately, or are we overreacting, or are we underreacting? We want to have emotional stability here. We want to realize that our dreams can manifest, even in our relationships. But it asks us to do the work and to expand our ideas of what relationship could be. And so we move into this card where we take a step back, right? We take a step back to do that analysis, to give attention to what is manifesting in our lives. And sometimes we might want to play devil's advocate with ourselves. I don't think this is the card for us right now to go out and poke at the other and say, well, you don't love me anymore. You don't do this for me anymore. And what, you want that? Well, why should I give you that? I don't think this is the spot for us to play devil's advocate with our partner, or whoever that is. This is the time to play devil's advocate with ourselves, to do that process of the alchemy indicated in the Five of Wands. Now we do that self-analysis. And we play devil's advocate with ourselves. So do you really want this relationship? Do you really think that this person is really treating you that badly? We play devil's advocate with ourselves. And we do it with as cool a mind as we possibly can. Looking at the past, looking at the present, and keeping our eye on the future. And being altruistic, we're doing this not in order to be critical of other, but to raise the other up as we lift ourselves up in the Aquarian mode. And so we come into our balance in justice, right? So what we're looking for here is balance and equilibrium. We want to curb the urge to dictate. We want moderation in all things. We want our justice, but we also want an equilibrium. It's not the justice of, I demand justice for myself. I want justice for both of us. Right? And maybe it's more than, okay, so there are not pansexual, people who are in relationships with more than one person, right? So, okay, when I say the other person, if you're in a relationship with more than one people, read it in that way. That it's for whoever that relationship is encompassing, whoever is in that space of partner relationship. So, here we go, justice again, yes. So, polyamory, that's the word I was looking for, polyamory. So if you're polyamorous, change whatever I'm saying to a plural, right? But still, with other. And so then we move into the Six of Swords. And the Six of Swords is here reminding us that, yes, we want to be hardworking. We want to be diligent in the process of discovering how we were going to be and how we are going to evolve in relationship. We want to be frugal with our resources, not stingy, but frugal. We don't want to spend a lot to just cover up whatever dysfunction or distrust or disharmony we notice. And yet we want to enjoy what we have. And perhaps even enjoy music and art and culture together. We want to spend quality time. I know that phrase is way overused and has lost meaning, but spend quality time together, perhaps. And so we move from there into the Five of Swords where, yes, we can be tenacious, playful, careful of our recklessness, because in our playfulness, we can sometimes hurt the other, right? We can sometimes hurt ourselves. So we want to be playful, but aware of what we're doing. We want to allow ourselves to be driven by our emotion and willing to drive into the unknown together, but we want to be careful that, again, we're not we're not going too far from home. Because we are still in the space of this, of the Nine of Wands reversed. Now, but still, we want to allow ourselves to venture into the unknown a little bit close to home. Not getting into our cars and driving off a cliff. And that moves us into what? That moves us into the balance point of the Queen of Cups, where we have our empathy. We are quick thinking, which we want to be. We are natural healers. We can heal ourselves, and in healing ourselves, we can open ourselves to healing others. We are intuitive. We have varied talents that we can use to, that we can take advantage of to do the work of improving and evolving our relationship. That we can do all of this with the power that we already have. That we can take an active interest in the other as individuals as well. And care for them as we discover how we want to be in relationship. And so we enter into Psyche. And in Psyche, we are reminded that, yes, we can be passionate, we can be empathetic, we can be sensitive. But we also don't want to let the opinions and the ideas that are coming to us from our partner to force us to change who we are. We want to be in our relationship with the other as the true beings that we are, right? So we're open, we're empathetic, we're sympathetic, and yet we don't take on the ideas and take on the expectations of others to become who the other wants us to be. We are truly, fully ourselves. And our sensitivity helps us to transmute those uncomfortable and those difficult times into something beautiful and positive if we allow ourselves to do that work. If we allow ourselves to embody the fullness of the psyche that we are, we have that potential. Without, again, allowing the other to change who we are by their attitudes, by their judgments, by whatever. And we want to have the fortitude to be fully who we are and open to who they are. We want to look to see if we are internalizing what they are projecting and try to limit how much we're projecting out as well. And so, what is the title of this video? What is the title of this video? Now, those obstacles. Realizing obstacles. The realization of our obstacles. What is the message? The realization of the coming to awareness of obstacle is what leads us into our being able to open to the fullness of our relationships. Okay, so that's not the title, but that's the direction I think that this thing is going in. You know the title. You see it below. I still haven't landed on it yet, but I'll land on it in just a moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, friends, family, children of all ages, we're here at the end. Thank you for following this journey along with me. Thank you for being here with me. And in just a little bit, there will be a short video giving you the names of the decks and the creators. 3 of the 4 decks are still available. There will be links in the description box below. One of them is out of print. I'm very sorry about that. Hit the thumbs up button if you're still here so that YouTube knows that you got something from this video, and it will put the video out in front of the eyes of more people. It helps the channel. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and hit the alarm bell so you get notifications of when I upload videos. And comment below. I would really love to hear from you. What do you think the title of this should have been? I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? And if you want a reading from me, long, short, deep, surface, whatever. Let me know. Shoot me an email to the email address below, thehangedmaninthemoon@gmail.com, and we'll get you a reading. Long, short, whatever you want. It's yours. And so, friends, now, as always, I wish you love, joy, well-being, and pure awareness. Thank you.